What will supporters of Western Province call or chant if the name of Western Province is removed? Because various outlets reporting that the days of Western Province competing in the Currie Cup could be coming to an end. The Stormers franchise CEO, Johan Leroux, says they've been considering dropping the name VP, opting instead for some variation of the Stormers. Jan de Koning is the editor of Rugby 365. What's happening here, Jan? I I have to nail my colours to the mast here. In that, in the tradition of Western Cape and Western Province rugby, I'm a province supporter first. Then I am a Stormers franchise supporter second. And these two brands are intertwined. But what is happening here, Jan?
Firstly, let me say thanks for having me on the show. Well, the positive, the upspin of this is people will no longer be able to call the team Western Problems.
Hey. Which was part of being a fan. When we were down, the chant changed from province to problems, and that's just about growing up in Western Province rugby. Jan?
Yeah, no, I understand. No, look, I'm also old school, so we had to go through all the other problems. Had to go through all this pain. It's all about branding. So in the professional era, you talk about branding. So you need to have one brand that they can market. So you will know that Natal changed from the Natal to the Sharks, the Lions, the Transvaal changed from the Transvaal to the Lions, Northern Transvaal to the Bulls, Free State to the Cheetahs. So Western Province held out the longest, but because it was run by amateurs. So let's be frank, let's be honest. You had this thing, you had a professional arm and you had the amateurs, and the amateur arm was running the show. Now professionals have taken over and they need a brand they can market. So when you go to market, you need a strong brand. You need one brand to market. So, and yes, I understand that it's hard for the diehards like ourselves. We like the old school stuff, but unfortunately, in the modern era when money talks, you have to undergo evolution and change, and it's difficult. I know it's painful, but at least you won the race. You stayed the longest. You stayed traditionally the longest.
So is this a done deal? Does it mean that in the next season or two, you phase out the name Western Province, you create a more congruent, broader squad that would compete in a URC Champions Cup competition, and that in the Currie Cup? The question of whether the Currie Cup still remains is also still a conversation. But how would these two brands, two squads, two teams align? There is the one unified director of rugby in John Dobson, but how do you then align what is then the Western Province structure and the Stormers structure?
Yeah, the important thing to remember is this is just the start of the process. So it will eventually happen. I mean, it's a given. It will eventually happen. How and when and what it will be called, I can foresee that both teams will be called the Stormers, and will be actually just one squad.
What is a Stormer?
It's that weather you currently have in Cape Town.
What is a Stormer? This is largely been my from Super Rugby days. Look, I know what anthropomorphized bull is, or a shark is, or a lion is. I've always wondered, what is a Stormer?
The Cape of Storms. Surely you know that.
Look, this pains, and it pains a lot of people, and it would pain those who I was not necessarily part of the group that would necessarily have objected to a financial injection into Western Province and Stormers rugby, as the Deezer group have now. But some would argue, well, this has been in this long-term process to do away with what has been an institution, the oldest union in the country, that being Western Province, and it will hurt a lot of people, Jan.
No, it definitely will. No, it's a painful process, and for me as well. I love tradition. I love Newlands and that's Nagon. I love Western Province. I love Transvaal. I mean, I've still got a scrapbook from my school days with the regional badges, the Transvaal, the Northern Transvaal, Natal, Free State, Western Province. So I've got all those logos. The good thing is the red dizer or the dizer will still be there. So that part. So the lines, the badge doesn't. You don't have the lines that look like the O4 the Transvaal badge. Northern Transvaal badge is a Modelifi. So at least the dizer will still be there, and the jersey will still have some configuration of stripes. A variation of stripes. So I think, yes, it's painful to understand where the pain comes from, but in reality, it's called evolution.
Okay, I get you, Jan. Really appreciate your time as always. I'll try and continue this conversation tomorrow because we are running out of time. But your thoughts? Robert suggests VP Stormers. Then everyone is happy. Over the last few years, I have attended more Stormers games. It's the entertaining rugby. It's the big marquee rugby. It has the stars. It has the action. It has the marketing. It has the publicity. I've no problems with franchise rugby. It's what what entertains me. But what pains me is simply the discarding of Western Province rugby. I am a Western Province man. Even with the advent of franchise rugby, I would have always wanted to play for Western Province first and Stormers second. Whether I would be selected for a Western Province game would be another matter.